Hello, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project and Five Figure Niche Site. And we are live now. And with any luck, you can hear me. This video is a random one. And I'm going to answer some questions. People leave comments in a lot of videos. They send emails and stuff like that. Today, because it happens to be just up on another tab here, we're going to go through some questions that were sent in. So it'll be kind of brief. We're not going to go on for hours and hours here. Give me a shout in the chat. Welcome. Thanks for hopping on. And a couple of things before we get started. I want to mention that my guest posting service is open, but only for a few more days. It's actually almost filled up because I sent out an email yesterday to tell people that it's open. So if you want guest post and you have more money than time and you want to pay me and the team to work on it for you, I can do that. So there's a link in the description, nichesiteproject.com/something. There's a link in the description. So if you're interested, you should check it out. There's details on the sales page. So, and again, it's only open for a few more days. I was going to leave it open until Friday, but it looks like it'll be filled up before then. So like I said, if you're interested, you should hop on. So we have Haluk, Aaron, Mark, what's going on? And William, thanks for joining live here. So if you have questions in the chat, you can type them in. Like I said, I'm going to kind of try and focus on some of the ones that were sent in recently. So I'm just going to blast through a bunch of them most likely. And let's get to the first one here. I'll give you a shout out. If you do leave comments, I'll try and give you a shout out. I'm also probably going to record a podcast later today. So in that case, those questions make it on as well. So I'll give you a shout out on the podcast too. If you haven't listened to the podcast, it's at doug.show. That's the URL. Got a pretty cool domain there. So it's just doug.show, or you can look it up in your favorite podcast directory. So leave comments on videos. It's a good thing to do. First question from Adil Sadout. So he says this: I got a problem and I thought I could enlighten him. I got crawled and indexed. I think he means his website. I don't think he was crawled. Hope not. Or indexed. I think his website was. But after less than a week, half of my posts got excluded and they are not indexed anymore. Any help? Okay. So number one, don't worry about it. There's not a problem, I don't think. I bet your site is young. You didn't mention this in your question, which is fine. I bet your site's young. I bet your site's like not old at all, like a few months old, maybe, definitely under 6 months. This seems to be a symptom of the Google sandbox. So my recommendation is to keep publishing content, keep getting backlinks, progress forward, promote your site, get traffic from social, whatever you got to do. So just keep moving forward and it'll be fine. Once your site has some more history, things are going to be indexed again and you'll be good to go. All right, another question here. This is from Marek, MMR, and I saw you left a bunch of comments over the last few days, so appreciate that, MMR. Marek, MMR. I wish I saw this 2 years ago. Speaking of one of my videos, setting up content as pages makes it easier to build links. Doug, you mentioned that posts could be used as well for internal link building. What is better? I'm setting up a new affiliate site, so it would be helpful to learn the best way from the get-go. So pages versus post for internal link building. It doesn't matter. Basically, they're the same. It's just a page versus a post is it's a WordPress structure, right? It's independent of the search engines, right? Google just has a URL. It doesn't care if it's a page or a post. So you could do whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. And keep putting questions in the chat. I'll hop over there in a second once I get through a few of these. All right, Bardash asked a question that is covered on the FAQ page on Niche Site Project, so I encourage you to check it out there. But Bardash says, what if the all-in title is 15 or 20, but the search volume is 0? The KGR will be 0 in this case. Okay. So for the math sticklers out there, you will see the flaw in Bardash's math off the bat. I know I do. All right. So technically, when you divide by 0, that is undefined. It's not 0. When you divide by 0, that's just not a thing. All right. So for the math sticklers out there, the value of the KGR is not 0. It's undefined. However, you're still left in the same place with useless information that doesn't really help you because there's no value there, so you can't compare it. So I get why you're asking the question. The answer is this. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. There's no KGR value. So if you want to write the content, write the content. If you don't want to, don't write it. If it's a Google auto suggest, give it a shot. I think you should. If it's a Google related search, do it. It's probably a good idea. Google's literally telling you in those two cases that it's something that people are searching for. So go for it. Now, here's the problem. If you end up doing that sort of content often, right? So if you have a shitload of posts on your site and they're all targeting keywords that have 0 searches per month, well, that's not going to work out really well for you. All right. So just don't do it too often and you'll be all right. If you got a handful of selected ones that seem like good content, then go for it. Okay. Georgie's at my feet here, keeping my feet warm. Oh, our friend Duke is on. What's going on? Good to see you. Your recent interview is very popular. So thanks for answering all the comments over there and being part of the community, Duke. Aaron says this: how do you have a content manager add in your affiliate links? There's a format you can use. So I just use the format and all you have to do is put in the ASIN, the ASIN, which is something number probably. And then they put in your tracking code. So that's it. It's just a format. It's like amazon.com/dp/asin/something, and it's the tag. So just use the format. I don't know it off the top of my head. I have it written somewhere. And if you Google it, you could find it. So they don't have access to my dashboard or anything like that. That's the concern you may have. Anime says you're working on an Amazon affiliate site and you need your advice. You're writing KGR content, but the niche you're not sure about. Well, you're going to have to ask a better question than that, buddy. Anime. If you're not sure about it, you're going to have to just do some research and figure it out. So I can't really help you on that unless you ask a more detailed question. A general question will get a terrible answer. So, all right. Morelli says, is it unethical to use personas? No. It's just like a pen name. So that's a common thing, a pseudonym. It's not unethical. For outreach, link building, and pitch, guest post to them for authority websites. I'm not, it's kind of a weird structure of a question. So you asked a question and then you put some sort of, I wasn't very good at English, but I think that is some sort of fragment over there. So you're saying, is it unethical to use a persona for link building and pitching? Potentially. I think if you do it in an unethical way, then potentially. But you can say, hey, you use a pseudonym or whatever and go from there. You can set it up however you want. And I would say tread lightly because it could be unethical if you are misrepresenting things. If you're like misrepresenting yourself or your website or anything like that. Bicycle something. Ever heard of anybody getting sued for an Amazon affiliate site? I haven't heard of anything, but people get sued for all sorts of stuff. So I don't know what you're talking about. Like sued by whom? I don't understand. So, oh, Grant, what's going on? You made it today. Oh, Adil says, can you ask about guest posting or Google indexing? Yeah, you can ask about Google indexing. Yeah. Oh, and I just answered your question. Yeah. So, um, yeah, we're not even really focusing on guest posting so much. I just wanted to mention it. And if people just joined in the video, by the way, my guest posting service is open. So you can have a look if you're interested. There's a link in the description. Um, and it's only open for a few days. It's almost full. So I would suggest if you're interested, I think it's 80% full at this point. So I've only let in a handful of people. And yeah, only let in a handful of people. All right. Okay. And Adil, just rewind the video, but basically don't worry about it. Rewind the video. I answered your question first before you joined. Uh, Amin says, oh, sorry, my niche is pretty technical. Is it necessary to have a writer with experience in my niche? It's up to you. You could do whatever you like. If your competition has really good content by people that have experience in it, then I would say, yeah, you kind of have to, or you're just going to be wasting your time. So, but if the content is garbage, then maybe you can get by with subpar experience. It's totally up to you. I would recommend, probably putting the higher quality stuff up. You can save a little money in the short run, but it's probably not going to pay off as big in the long run. So yeah, I would go for the higher quality content. We have VS programmers, and VS says my brand new site is ranking with KGR within 2.5 months. You've only published 5 posts. Very cool. And I'll also put in sort of interesting success type stories. All right. Daniel Nairo says, I'm learning about the KGR and you're trying to apply it. Can I define local and local monthly searches? Is it a country? Yeah, usually that is, it's so number one, for a question like this, um, well, actually, let me go back. I referred to LMS, local monthly search volume. You should probably go for the US. So use the US version of Google, not like .uk or whatever, or .ca. Generally, it goes to a country. You'll have to adjust the formula if you're using something aside from the US. So, all right, now I'm going down. Okay, Marek, MMR. Again, lots of comments, so thanks for doing that. Mark says, how often do I offer my guest posting service? Right now, it is not extremely often. It's just sort of like when I have time. It's been busy for me, and it's sort of a one-off thing because a lot of people ask me about guest posting. So I don't do it a ton. At most, it'll be once a month, but more likely it'll be like every 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something like that. But we'll see how it goes. Mark also asks, building a website with KGR optimized content, how soon should I start link building? Would I wait past the sandbox period? I would start as soon as possible. I would start as quickly as you can. I wouldn't wait until after the sandbox period ends. All right. And you got wrecked says the CDN is something worth considering. That will serve. This is a question that was phrased like a sentence. That will serve a cache version if the host goes down. No, I don't think it works exactly like that. I think but I could be wrong. It's not like a fail-safe situation. I think it loads the data from a closer server. So I don't think it works as a backup. All right. Wesley likes the beard. Thanks. Appreciate it. Grant says 23 people watching and only 6 likes. True, true. We can get maybe a few more on here, but what can we do? I haven't been doing the live streams as much lately, but I may try and restructure a little bit. And I keep saying, hey, I'm going to do more of the live streams. But one thing that I noticed is when I was doing live streams more often, I think Google or YouTube rather, seems like maybe they pushed out the invitations more. They sent out more emails and notifications and all that. I'm not sure. The last couple that I've done, there's been roughly like half or less than what we were doing before. And behind the scenes, if you're interested, one of the reasons I stopped doing so many of the live streams, while it was interesting to do so many of them, and I may pick them back up. Like I say, I always talk about it. I always felt drained at the end. So I may need a different way to handle it. Maybe I need a producer to watch the chat for me and then deliver the questions that are worth answering. A lot of the questions were literally like stuff that you could just look up. It's stuff you could look up. It was a question where I literally have answered it in writing, and I tell you, hey, I answered it in writing, and then the same question would get asked. So it's a weird situation because if you're watching the video, then you may not be going on my site and reading. Maybe you're at your desk and you're like listening on your phone because you're working, or you're acting like you're working, and you can't go read the answer or whatever, and you just want to type the question. So anyway, it's kind of weird. So I don't know the right way to handle it exactly. Maybe it's have content that have questions, like we have 1,000 questions on like YouTube comments there, and I can just look through those and answer those, and then cherry pick the ones that are like legit in the chat. From time to time I miss them anyway. Back to the chat, by the way. Tim says, I've been working on your first English site for 8 weeks. It's hard to keep writing these quality posts over 1,500 words. You're on 15 articles right now, but you want to get to 300. You're from the Netherlands. Cool, Tim. Yeah, keep at it. As if you're consistent, keep going. If you have to take life happens, right? So if you have to take a pause, that is okay. 300 is a lot. It sounds like since you're on 15 and you've been doing it for 8 weeks, you figured out how to break up break it up into something manageable. But yeah, I would say just make sure you make sure you break it up into smaller chunks. 300 is a lot, but if you're like, all right, I can get to 20, I can get to 50, I can get to 80, then you'll be all right. Okay. M and JK says, hey, Doug, like me, I'll just read it how it's written here. Like you, I can't read out loud. Like you once were, I'm stuck in the corporate 9 to 5. You're diving into AM affiliate marketing, but you have information overload. I seem like a trustworthy guy. Other than yourself, whose content do you trust? Well, at this point, I don't consume a lot of content. I just kind of when I hear a lot of when I hear chatter, then I know I need to pay attention. Dom Wells over Human Proof Designs is great. I'm trying to just think of some other folks. If you like YouTube, there is WP Eagle. He's pretty good. And I'll let you know if I can think of some other folks. But the person I got my start from, Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income there. As far as the information overload, I would find someone you trust and then just focus on their content for a little while and stop, unsubscribe from some email lists, stop reading all this information, stop with some of the podcasts. It's too much. And the more you listen to, the more confused you'll get. At some point you'll hit a point where you can just take action and just see what happens. And then you'll have more information. based on your own results versus just like what other people were telling you, which a lot of times they're trying to sell you something. So, but there's a lot of other people. I just don't, at this point, I'm not consuming much more. Adil says, how do I optimize the snippet to show the name of the products in a list? You can't force it. So if you're talking about the rich snippet in the results, you can't force that. Agers is on what's going on, a student in the 5-figure niche site course. Amin says, is the sandbox related to the age of the domain or the age of the post or both? I think it's both. All right. Farouk says, hey, Doug, my KGR stuff is amazing. A couple of your blogs are rocking. One hit 10K within 5 months. That's great. And Farouk, I know you've been sending me messages on Facebook. That is cool. I'm glad you're keeping me up to date. I hate Facebook. So I see your messages and I see like dozens of other messages and I'm afraid I just ignore them. So thanks for keeping me up to date though. Basically, Facebook, I'll check in like every, once every month or something like that. Jaron, what's going on? Good to have you on. And hope it's warm over there. It is. I think we have gotten above 0 today. We've gotten above 0 for the last 2 days here. It's been it was like negative 24 when I woke up this morning. It's been a little chilly. Masher's on. Oh, and Duke says you like Authority Hacker and Fat Stacks. Yeah, Fat Stacks is really good. John Dykstra over there. Dan, what's going on? All right. M and JK says you've been listening to Income School. A lot of their content is contradictory to what I've been listening to. You seem to trust their methods, though. Yeah, and I would say actually they do things much differently than me, but a lot of people like them. Their YouTube channel is blowing up, and they seem more engaging or something like that. I'm not sure, but I think some of their stuff is, I think, maybe slightly misinformed. All right, Farouk says, for a KGR focused blog, if we are targeting ballpoint pens, is it okay to focus on ballpoint pens for writers, lawyers under 100? Yeah, exactly. Masher says you discovered my channel accidentally. Great. And you're loving the KGR. Fantastic. And Ager says last 3 months have been really bad with guest posting because all the websites are over spammed with guest posting. Yes. And that is, I did a video like last week where I talked about just like bad pitches that I was running into. I mean, I get so many emails, and it's these people that have, I mean, I did this at the very beginning when I was guest posting like 3 to 4 years ago. I would use like a mail merge app and I would send out a few emails in an automated way. I would take more of a shotgun approach. And that is, just very widespread. It's prolific right now. So if you have a blog that has like contact info, and if it has traffic or not, you're probably getting pitches from people and it's just bad. People are just saying, hey, I read your blog, and they put the domain name in there. And then I thought it's good. I thought maybe you could link to my site, and just all sorts of bad cold pitches. They're almost 100% cold pitches. And I imagine 2 things are going to happen. One, a lot of people are marking them as spam. And then fortunately, it's going to hurt these folks' domains as they are trying to email. They're going to have a hard time with deliverability. And I mean, at some point, it's going to impact their domain potentially, potentially. But the other thing is the bloggers are probably going to ask for payment in a lot of ways. They see the supply and demand, and they know if they're getting asked to put links in and they do a little research and understand what's going on, they're going to start asking for money, and so many of them do already. So if you pitch someone and they're like, yeah, we'll do a guest post, there's like a $45 or $145 administrative fee. Like that's what they're doing. It's like very little work for them. So right. Okay. M and JK says, do I agree with income school? Blah, blah, blah. As long as your content's amazing, you'll get ranked no matter what. So M and JK, generally, I don't comment on other people's stuff, specifically income school, because they don't like me very much. Yeah, so they don't like me very much. So I try not to comment on them. So they say, and the thing is, I don't know what they think. So I'll just answer your question. Keyword searching isn't as big of a deal. I think depending on what you're trying to do, it's a big fucking deal, right? Like if you're just going for like if you're going for well, if you're not even doing keyword research at all and you're just writing stuff that you think is helpful, you could end up 6 or 8 or 10 months, or hope it's not like 18 months in the future. You could end up with a site that basically no one searches for any of the content because you didn't spend the time to go look. Now, is there other ways to figure out if people are looking for that content or if that content's useful? Yeah. And I don't know if Income School teaches those other ways. I have no clue because I'm not in their courses or anything like that. So that is one aspect. Now, the other point is, as long as your content is amazing, that you'll get ranked no matter what. That's not true. That's not true at all. Your content can be fantastic and you may or may not be found. There's not, maybe years ago, you can publish content and there wasn't as much competition. But at this point, I mean, can you imagine, right? All else being equal, M and JK just flows, right? I'll just say M and J. All else being equal, links obviously matter, right? Links obviously matter. So if you, I'm going off on a tangent here, but links matter. And if you have a site that has really good content and another site that has really good content, and one has links and the other one doesn't have links, which one do you think is going to rank better? Okay, moving on. Masher says, you use the KJR in your blog. You have 7 posts so far and you're getting good rankings already. Awesome. Keep up the good work. Ager says, best pens for writers. In your case, is not allowed to rank better than Google top 20 to 30 for blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure if follow Ager. So rephrase if you need me to answer that. It seems like maybe you're just sharing what you've seen in your niche. All right. Amin says, you are willing to write 300 posts. You've already written 50. Do I suggest you write all the posts on one site or write 150 on one site and 150 on another? Well, I don't have enough information to answer that, so I don't really know. I don't really know. Not sure about that. All right, Jill, what's going on? Yeah, I just kind of randomly popped on today because I had a few minutes. I'm excited. I'm doing I'm moving soon, so I'm only in the house for a couple more days. I'm sleeping on an air mattress. I'm actually going to shoot some YouTube videos in like the empty room with just the air mattress in there in a few minutes, I think, or maybe tomorrow morning. We'll see how it goes. But I'm excited because I'm having like a beer tasting here. I have like one camp chair. I told people to bring chairs, bring your own glass. But when I went down to Colorado, I bought a bunch of good beers that are available down there, which the liquor stores down there are ridiculous. I mean, they had so many rare beers, like really cool beers out there. And we can't get as much up here in Montana. So I have a bunch of friends in town here but I only invited a handful. So a handful, and we're just going to stand around the island in the kitchen, drink some beers. It's basically it's all Belgian style beers, saisons primarily, and there's a few golden strongs that made it in, and I think a couple of my friends, one of my friends travels to Belgium fairly often, maybe once a quarter or maybe slightly more often. So he brought one of his favorite triples over in the last few weeks. So looking forward to that very much. That'll be pretty fun. So Dan says, when I write an article that is KGR compliant, even if it's just white bread, does it pertain? It does pertain, but it doesn't have much interest just to have more content. Sure, I'd be open to that. I mean, if you could write something that has more value, then go for it. But if you found one that isn't super interesting, but it could be valuable to some people, then that would be fine if you don't have anything else. But if it was like, this piece of content is high value and this one is boring, then do the high value one. But yeah, it could be fine. Teeth House, do I have a guarantee with my guest posting service? No, absolutely not. There's too many factors involved. And this is one of the reasons I complain about that I complain about services is, especially link building, is I could blame it on your content. But I would say any SEO company that is offering a guarantee for their service, I wouldn't trust them because they shouldn't guarantee it. So sorry, Teeth Health, I'm not the right service for you. Luke says, we need to prepare a content for each keyword with a good KGR value, or it makes more sense to use it in content. Can you rephrase? I'm not sure I get your question. AT Reviews says the KGR keywords are awesome. However, sometimes 2 out of 10, 10 times though it passed the KGR rules and they don't work. Why is that? That is that's pretty normal. So that's literally kind of the percentage, because it's not 100%, right? There's other factors involved. Dan, you're right. It is BYO chair. I literally said, bring a camp chair if you want to sit down. We usually end up just standing around anyway. But yeah, I told him, bring a chair. I'll order pizza. I got paper plates, but all right. So yeah, AT Reviews, just sometimes the KGRs don't work because there's other factors involved. So if you're getting 80% success, then that's good. That's very good. M and J says, you had an idea of getting content from college essays. You pay students for the rights and simply edit to make it online content. Well, I don't think I don't like that idea. It's going to end up being sterile. It's not going to match up with, it's not going to match up with the content you need unless it just happens to be the right niche. But generally, I would say no, not a good idea. Ager says you have a best product article, which is best in niche and best for X, best product under, and a main keyword best product not ranking higher than top 30. Okay, that makes sense. Agers, do you have a question with that? Dwayne says, do I think video editing is a good niche? Not really, unless you're offering video editing services or you're an affiliate for video editing. So it kind of depends on what you're trying to do. But generally, I would say not really. But it depends on what you're trying to do. You got wrecked says, hi, thanks for the helpful content. You're welcome. And Emma J says, thanks for the input. Cool. All right, I'm going to answer a couple more questions here before we jet. So if you're in the chat, thanks for hopping on. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment. That's always appreciated. All right, I'm just going to go through a few more of these questions, like rapid fire style. Make you laugh. Another YouTube comment says, "Hello, Doug. How much does 10,000 words cost?" And then in all caps, it says, "Just give me rough estimation." All right, buddy, you don't have to yell. Um, it depends. It depends on where you're getting it, but I would say, let's see, 10,000 words, maybe like $200, something like that. Bardash says, how to find the best and low competitive Amazon niche. There's no best or lowest competitive. I would suggest brainstorming and looking around and then doing a full competition analysis. So that was kind of a bad question. So kind of got a bad answer. Sorry about that. All right. Oh, Andy says you randomly popped on just as you were making morning coffee. Coffee and Q&A doesn't get much better. Nice, Andy. Appreciate that. KGR really does work. You have 30 or so articles, each on 2 sites, ranked quicker than you thought. Awesome. Keep up the good work. Jill says, "Are you warming? Sorry, are you moving to warmer weather?" Yes, slightly. Um, it's about, I think, like 8 hours south, something like that. So it's pretty far south. So yeah, it's the winters are much shorter. It still gets cold. Still gets cold some, but not nearly as cold. And the summers are longer. It actually gets hotter for more of the year, which should be fine. It's like it's in the foothills of the Rockies in the Boulder area. So it's high elevation. So it actually gets cool at night. Even if it's hot during the day, it still cools off pretty good. All right. Ager says, the idea, my most searched best article not ranking in the top 20 yet after a year of heavy work and 20 guest posts published to the post. Okay. So Agers, it could be, and feel free to shoot me an email via the course support. But it could be a couple things. Could be some on-site SEO things going on. You may want to look at some of the um, keyword density, some of the other factors for on-page. Look at internal linking. And if you have 20 guest posts, that's great. However, you still should look at the competition. And if the competition has like 200 links going to it, then you may have to, get some more powerful links and maybe put in even more time. So I know you put in a lot of work and 20 guest posts is good, but yeah, you may have to go harder. If the competition is doing more, you may have to. All right, AT Review says when you do an all in title, one day it shows 4, and then other times it shows 1,000. Has it happened to you? No. Although people tell me that all the time, but I haven't seen it, not that level. And it could be location based, it could be IP address based, where if you're in a different, I have no idea. People do tell me that. Now, I'll be honest with you. I only check like once, so I'm not double checking. So I guess a lot of people are a lot more thorough than me and they're double checking, but I usually just go for it. If I find one that works, I just go for it. Dan says, why am I moving? My wife got a job in Boulder. So she actually started in the last few days here. All right. O2, what's going on, Jill? Yeah, Georgie will enjoy it. She's been having to wear boots, which she hates wearing boots. Dwayne says, do I think computer components and PC parts is a good niche? Sure. It seems fine. Tons of products. I wouldn't go for it personally. There's a lot of like updates and stuff. So you'd have to constantly update it. But that also means you could constantly publish new content. All right. Deet says, if I was targeting a UK specific keyword, which has the word UK in it, do I need to use the specific phrase in the content? Yeah, I would say something not as long as it has the same idea as that phrase, then that would be okay. It seems silly because it's not proper English. Yeah, I agree with that. Does it matter if you write best cycle helmets in the UK or will you not rank blah blah blah? You're struggling what to do with UK specific search terms. I would just make it clear that it's, in the UK or whatever. So you don't have to use improper English, but just make sure that that is the interpretation. I think Google can understand that. All right, a couple more questions here before we wrap it up. And let's see. O2 says, can you link directly to the company's website and get commission as well as product link? Does that make sense? Not really. Not really. Yeah. If they have an affiliate program, you can work with their affiliate program, but yeah, you got to deal with that. AT Reviews, thanks for coming on. And then Racewin, thanks for the great content. If you have a not so niche website, but make niche blog posts about niche products using the KGR, could that work? Yes, it could. KGR can work for whatever you wanted to. If it's a low, low competition keyword with a favorable KGR, you should be able to make it work. All right. Leandro Francisco says, I don't understand why some of the rules come into play, like with link building and stuff like Gray Hat. Doesn't it make Amazon and Google more money? What methods are even white hat anymore? I feel like literally everything is considered black or gray hat, and it's making me not want to even consider affiliate marketing. Sure. Yeah, it's a little confusing sometimes. In general, the rules are to, encourage good content just overall. As far as like Google and Amazon making more money, basically, I believe the idea is that by providing better results that are not, this is from the Google standpoint, providing better results to the visitor that actually help the visitor um, is more profitable for Google, because what would happen is, like, if the spam team, I'm trying to think of the rules. I guess if the webmaster guidelines weren't around link building, like every site would go to some like Viagra site, basically. Like whoever has the most money would just, like, anything you Googled, it would just go to Viagra site, basically. So that is why the rules are there, because marketers would abuse it. So I hear what you're saying, and if you're like, hey, you know what? There's too many rules. I don't want to do it. I don't understand why. Blah blah blah. Like maybe affiliate marketing isn't for you. Do something else. There's like a million things you could do. So if you don't want to work with Google, do something else. Ignore Google. Create something else. It doesn't matter. You could pick anything. All right. Kevin's on. Oh, Duke says, oh, you're back. You're teaching your wife to make an affiliate site. Good luck. That sounds fun. Kevin says, what's up? Dan says, you want to thank me for the KGR? You're welcome. And you haven't published yet, but you're getting your list together. Fantastic. Okay. Muhammad Umar says, why are you stressing too much on KGR? Instead of making pillar post and rank for thousands of keywords, don't mind. Okay. Muhammad, this is literally a Q&A session. So people were asking about it. And the KGR is fucking awesome. So that is why we keep talking about it. So in fact, one thing that I don't mention, Muhammad, I'm glad you brought it up. Basically, I use the KGR a lot, but it's not the only thing that I do. I mean, it's a tool in our toolbox that we can use, and we don't have to only use the KGR. A lot of people misinterpret that and think only KGR, that's the only way to go. There's a lot of other keywords that are not KGR that are worthwhile to go for. KGR is great when you're just getting started. And it turns out, Mohammed, more people are just getting started or haven't started yet than people that are already established. So it just happens to be more relevant for more people. So that's why we talk about the KGR. And most of the time, I mean, that's just what people are talking about. Since it's my thing, that's what I go for. Okay, and William says, do a search for Google algorithm updates. There's a full list of information you can learn on what to do and what not to do. Yep, but the Google Webmaster Tools has a lot of guides as well. If people haven't checked out the interview with Duke, do check that out. Just go to my channel and you can search for Duke. There's 2 interviews up, so you could hear like the first one and then the second one. Really insightful, very popular there. So Raisin says, when I was starting, how did I manage a job and a wife and a website all at the same time? I woke up early for a great period of it. I woke up early. I woke up at like 4 in the morning, and I would work for a couple hours, walk the dog, exercise, and then start my day job. Okay. And Kevin says, did anyone get hit with an algorithm update in the last week? One of your sites did. You think it was entertainment and travel related, but you're not sure. I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but I'm not sure. Okay. I think that's it. Thanks everyone for hopping on. And I may do, like I said, I always talk about it. I may do some more live streams. So give me a shout in the comments if you would like that. Just say, hey, more live streams or whatever. So everybody have a great day. Stay warm out there. It's very cold, very cold. So we'll catch you later. Thanks.